Hello, everybody. What is up?
Tailsthehero.
JTH.
Sonics.
Yeah, and we are going to read a fanfic that our friend Gray Racer 83 requested to
Yeah,
us.
good friend of ours. I've known him for a couple of years now.
So it's called Big Mac the Gardener.
Supposed to be like a light clop from what.
Yeah, he told us it's a light clop story between Big Mac and Zakora.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But anyway,
let's get this fanfic started.
You go ahead.
All right. Right then, Alonzi.
Amoriba.
Goodness, big bro. I ain't sure what to think about this message at all, Applejack said, pushing the scroll across her kitchen table. Her eyes flickered down along the newly appeared letter, signed from Zakora a few hours ago, and over to her huge glass of pulp-filled orange juice. Max said nothing. He simply leaned up against the side of wall of the kitchen, listening to Granny Smith's snoring boom through the next room.
Lols, Granny.
He had his own usual flat expression. Applejack sipped her drink and sat down on the floor. She had a
You
low,
like your gift, right,
sinking,
JTH?
sort of. Oh yeah, Rainbow Dash bag from We Love Fun.
I got it with this shirt, so I figured I'd give it to him because I already have one.
Yeah, awesomeness. Rainbow Dash. Her wings are golden, and so are her goggles.
She's boss, and yes, the shirt is 20% cooler.
In 10 seconds flat.
Was.
Anyways, Applejack sat down on the floor. She had a low, sicking sort of feeling coursing inside her, although she didn't know why.
Bitch. Screw it.
She had never seen Zakora mislead any pony, and she had no reason to suspect anything, yet it all felt so strange. Mac finally walked over and he picked up the scroll with a hoof. He had another glass of juice for himself. He then delicately rolled the scroll back up, glancing through it once again. He pointed out Zakora's hoof print to himself. Why is Applejack so worried about this? It's like a dream come true, isn't it? Just an easy, quick job. Dear Apple family, a dear friend of mine from the zebra tribe, Zapata, has had to move back over from Coltsville to sort out some special family issues on short notice. Thus, I am now in a tight spot. I need a new gardener to assist me with these special flowers known as Codius horticycus, which look like some of the most beautiful tulips that any pony has ever seen. The next 2 days will be especially important, and I'd be very grateful if you can help me. I've yet to find another male zebra in the immediate area to pollinate the flowers. Fortunately, a stallion with the size, strength, and build of dear Mr. Big Mac will do nicely. I don't know. If he can help me, then I'll share my bushels of the bright white pearl-like and jewel-like beads produced by the flowers. Just one of these rare collectibles is worth 200 apples. The actual pollination itself will be very easy, and caring for these flowers after will be as easy as pie. You can stay in my new guest hut besides my own hut. Huh, so did she have a guest house?
I'm kind of confused.
So am I. Thanks once again. If you could come over to my hut, then please leave as soon as possible. I'd also much appreciate if you can keep this message between us. Sincerely, Zakora. Written with the assistance of Zapata. You know what this means, little sis, said Big Mac.
Dude. Lols.
That is funny. She took a big swig of her own juice. Yes, I know. Whatever horrible disease is ravaging our apple trees, he said, looking over at the dishes in the sink, it wouldn't matter anymore. I'd rather have a poor season... Rather than have a poor season, He took a gulp. We might even be able to save the season, putting some bits into Apple Bloom's college fund. That would be so amazing. Zakor, or whatever feller that actually wrote that note, didn't say how much of those beady things she would share with us, did they? Applejack locked eyes with her brother, shifting her head to the side. It seems so, well, cryptic and such. Has Zakor ever been anything but a dear friend to us? Mac replied, walking closer. Applejack shook her head. No, even though concern almost never seemed to drip off her face. It's her message. It's her message, her hoofprint. I know it sounds weird. Goodness knows how long they've been waiting. Goodness knows. Whatever.
Goodness knows, and I wonder.
And I wonder what she exactly means by pollinate. He nudged closer to put a hoof against her sister's shoulder. But I'm not going to leave some pony like Sakura out in the cold when they need help.
When she says pollinates, I hope that she means like just taking nectar from one plant to another.
I know, she said, closing her eyes, looking right down at the floor. Hey, he said, moving her head up with his hoof and gazing into her adorable features. No pony, and I mean no pony, he playfully bonked her on the chest, is going to feed me a blasted flower, alright? He twirled his head around. Something wrong, and I'll go first. He bit into the empty air. She giggled, finally smiling. She felt such a surge of joy at that. Girl, you haven't smiled for the longest time. He must have been saying that in his head. It'll only take me a while to get ready to go, he said, turning away and very slowly heading towards the stairs. She nodded at him, waving a hoof. Sorry to get so emotional, big bro, she said, sniffling. It's just been so hard dealing with all this. I've been trying to stay strong, but I can't take it. I suppose I should tell you the rest of the story now, or at least what I heard from Twilight this morning. Mac froze, halfway out the door into the other room. Yup. It's not a magical disease, Applejack said, sighing wistfully, and started tending to the dishes. It's actually been a magical resistant parasite of all things. Without a doubt, it came from some of these new humans that have been popping up like daisies.
Yeah, what?
She almost bit her lip. Sure as hay was an accident, but I ain't gonna blame him one bit. Twilight said it might have been crawling around that tall peachy skin feller's backpack before we almost lost it around these parts. I know that kind then Karen feller would be crushed when she tells him. What does that all mean? He ran a hoof through his long, flowing mane. It means, Sugar Cube, she said, taking a very much deep breath, that there's nothing to stop it. Twilight says it'll turn out 9 out of 10 apples into mush. Then it'll probably die out, being isolated from its own planet and stuff. She held back a tear. That still doesn't change one big thing. We're going to be wiped out. She leaned her head up against the kitchen counter, looking out into blank space. I'll get ready to go, Max said, determination building in his voice. I'll do this job, I'll come back, and I'll make things better. Better? She repeated without thinking. Yup. They locked eyes once again. She seemed to understand as a silent pulse of emotion went through them both, and she knew she had a total confidence in him. She always had, even though she couldn't help but worry.
Gray sir, I'm confused, bro.
Yeah. This is being tossed all over the place.
And that's Gray Racer for you.
He scurried up the stairs and opened the door to his room. He picked up a big salad bag with his teeth and neatly placed item after item inside. A little shampoo, a little toothpaste and tissues. The lucky mad scientist saw that Apple Bloom had made for him in class a few days ago. The special times edition of the Canterlot Times he had vowed to look at, and other things to fit things all fit together like puzzle pieces. Finally, Mag made his way over to Apple Bloom at the barn, playing with the rest of the Cutie Mark Crusaders. She treated it like nothing out of the ordinary, giving him a big hug and asking him to bring back something fun from Sakura. Maybe I'm looking way too much into this. It's just a short stay. Nothing serious. Well, I don't feel like I'm going on some kind of grand exposition.
Oh, God.
If only I knew more about that odd flower. It's no name that I've ever heard before. He said goodbye to Applejack. She gave him another, more passionate hug. He still tried to keep himself in high spirits. I shouldn't let little worries get me down. Granny Smith gave in a very uncharacteristic little message of seeing you again the day after tomorrow, or such. Then, Sonny, stay safe. Before falling back asleep. Oh, that's Granny Smith for you. Well, I suppose it's time for me to head down into the Everfree.
Okay, it's kind of weird.
So he is now officially leaving.
Yep.
Let us go. As he trotted through Ponyville, drinking in the bright sunshine and soothing calm breeze, he thanked goodness that Twilight and a few human friends had built a formal path through the dangerous forest. He still had to keep his wits up, hoping not to be a meal for some gigantic slithery creature. but he at least had a solid space of gravel with wide spaces besides it to walk on. Several rustling and screeching noises gave him pause, but he kept on staring forwards. He moved step by step like a wind-up town. I think he meant to put wind-up toy.
Come on, Mac. You're a big pony. You could take the monsters.
And my computer is derping up on me right now, of all times.
Yeah. Freeze or something?
Oh, no, there we go. Like a wind-up toy. I am going to scroll down a tiny bit more. Come on. Seems to freeze at random intervals.
Maybe you can use the arrow keys to go down. Crap. It's a crash.
Hold on. It'll stop.
Sorry about this, every pony. A little bit of technical difficulties with the computer.
There we go.
Hopefully.
Yep, I fixed it.
This is why I hate laptops.
Wind-up toy. Just don't think about the horrible, despicable things creeping about over there. Just don't even let it enter your mind. His eyes start along the pile of mossy rock, along the gangling, weeping willows, and thick black stretches of tall bushes. Some kind of dark purple craw rubbed the tips of nearby branches before withdrawing back into the darkness. Keep walking, Big Mac. He spotted sets of red eyes from within massive leaves up to his left. He blinked. Those other eyes vanished. Seriously. Keep walking. He put on some speed, trying not to show any sort of panic, but hoping to cut the trip short. A rippling noise sounded far above him, followed by a low moan. His fast walk broke into a trot. He saw more mysterious eyes adjacent to the path, and he kept on moving. He finally closed his eyes and heard something like a large snap, and he ran. He blinked to keep from crashing into something, not wanting to see anything that he had more than he had to. He went up a small hill and he spotted Zeccora's hut up ahead. He glanced over to the side and spotted the new guest hut built just nearby. Ah, it looks so nice, he said, taking up his saddlebags. He sucked in a deep breath and he smiled. Just take a gardener at the new long. I guess he was cut off. I guess Zeccora appeared out of nowhere. It is so fortunate for you to be here, Zeccora said, hopping out from behind a bush, giving Mac a huge scare. Yup. He jerked to the side, smashing his body against a big oak. And he wiggled his head around. Zeccora broke out a huge smile, looking happier than he had ever saw her. Yes, indeed. I otherwise had much to fear. Ah, there she goes. She's rhyming, just like her old self.
Yay.
Yep. He brushed the leaves off his coat and staggered back onto the path, putting his saddlebag back on. I always want to be there when a friend needs help. She offered him a helpful hoop, and he took it, letting himself take in her infectious smile. She led him over into the direction of the guest hut. He tried not
to gaze at her flanks. Oh, wow.
Hold on.
Her tail shifting from side to side, seductively. Ooh.
I want to grab this pillow.
Zecora's being a little flirty flirt, huh?
Come on, you. Act appropriately. You're trying to do a good job for her. Zeccora had her own preferences in the bedroom, things that Mac had never heard about second hoof from various ponies as well as human. And he didn't want to get involved with any of that. He was, though, still a red-blooded stallion that hadn't had any since Cheerly broke up with him 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
They walked right past the guest hut and headed into a shallow riverbed which seemed to lead nowhere. He glanced all around overhead. The Everfree looked a lot more like a generic forest, with tall maples and oaks arranged haphazardly along with just an occasional bird overhead, as well as a pleasant lack of spooky noises. This must be a more peaceful part of the forest.
I guess that's why Zakora lives there.
Yeah.
In that area.
He felt totally confused, but she simply waved him forwards. He shrugged and stepped through the slippery riverbed. He stuck out a hoof and slid his head around, trying to keep his balance. He almost bit his lip as he nearly...
Fell flat on her... Oh, wait, what?
Unless he meant to say his. Zakora kept on walking in front of him. She seemed to have the grace of a ballerina. I can see why humans like her. Zakora suddenly ducked to the side, looking for a second as if she had completely disappeared. Scroll down. He blinked. He heard a happy exclamation, something in another language that he didn't understand, and he trotted forwards. He found himself standing beside a huge cave, totally black inside. He heard more weird clattering inside. Well, I've made it this far, haven't I? He headed inside. In just a matter of seconds, he found himself standing inside a massive clearing. The clean, bright green grass all around him took something away from Canterlot Tycoon's Law. Huh. This is unexpected. Well, that was a bit unexpected. He stepped along the moist expanse, trying to spot Zakora. It seemed almost like one of those optical illusions from the Canterlot times. What had been a cave was then just a big hole, almost like a rabbit hole over in the corner of the clearing. Despite being so short, inky blackness filled the hole as if it stretched out for mile after mile.
I'm confused.
So am I. I feel like I'm in some sort of magical zone or something. The sky is bluer, the grass is greener, the forest's blurring at this little clearing as if something from a storybook. It's not real. It's like hyper real. He blinked. Am I? Hello, Zakora? Mac called out. Aha! Zakora replied. Mac twirled around. He eyed Zakora laying down and far across from it over to his right. And he trotted over. As he moved closer, he saw a gigantic patch of flowers besides the curvy gray zebra, probably the flower she was talking about.
Yeah.
Ah, so there's what I'll be tending to. He seemed to immediately fall in love with the beautiful plant. Row after row of bright pink tulip-like flowers shone out in the bright sun. The petals had pretty yellow stripes going across intricate curls, like something Rarity would carefully plan out in the lacy end of her dresses.
Walls.
Stretches of dark green vines lay down underneath the flowers. Zakora ran a hoof alongside them, and she stood up straight. I guess she was searching for the flowers in that cave.
I guess so.
Ah, so we can see that she does like you, Zakora said, pointing over at Big Mac. She only loses her invisibility to a select few.
Wait, what?
Who? And I don't know that. Codius Hortus Siccus, I presume, Max said, scratching his chin. Very beautiful. He stepped even closer, his eyes dancing along the various petals, smells, stems, and everything else before him. Hey, wait a minute. He blinked. Are you seriously telling me that they're usually invisible?
I herped her.
She nodded, letting out a little laugh. So those flowers are usually invisible?
Gray Racer, what the hell?
And this whole area we're standing in here, he said, gesturing outwards towards the air above him. Something is special about it. Nature in the Everfree Forest is always in balance, my friend, she replied, stepping out away from them. Magical danger is one of the sides of the expanse implies magical love at the other end. Magical love? He repeated. He didn't like the naughty expression going across Zakora's face.
Oh boy.
This is getting rather, philosophical for a discussion about gardening, ain't it? Zakora did an impromptu, I guess that's how you say it, impromptu, oh yeah, dance, flipping herself onto her hind hooves and waving around her front ones. Mac watched with wide open eyes. She twirled over and kicked against the ground. She flew about in a circle. He took a gulp as she spun her head around, and as she spun both her head and her flanks widely.
Oh my god. What is this?
Sakura, please, what exactly can I do now? I'm here to help, and what I can do first, I'm pollinating, but how? He asked. She kept on spinning, her mane streaking through the air like a whip. Sakura. Then there's a huge blam noise. It's all in bold.
Blam!
Thank you. Thank you. A gigantic purple cloud burst forth from underneath Sakura's body as a booming noise rocked the whole clearing. Max staggered backwards, following onto the corner of the huge pine as he watched as Sakura popped up into the air, something like hundreds of bright blue magical sparks coursing between her and the ground. He opened his mouth up, but he couldn't even begin to think of what to say. Max, Sakura screamed out, looking over at him. Her eyes seemed to glow with this alien blue aura. Listen, you must. In my words, you must trust.
I am so... Okay, keep going.
He nodded. He felt what seemed like the plant's vines moving slightly underneath his back. But he had put that down just to just his nerves. Yes, please, don't be so cryptic. Just tell me what to do and how to. Ah, she said she has to leave. Maybe she has to go somewhere. I must leave, Max, she called out, closing her eyes and moving slowly towards the hole where they had came in. Later today, I shall be back. She held up the hoofs, making a circle. Her pearl-like beads, my friend, shall be yours, magically forming the day after tomorrow beneath the vines in pairs of fours. Well, Sakura's confusing. What do you expect?
True.
Tell you the truth, what Grey Racer's telling us to read, this doesn't make any sense.
That's Grey Racer for you. Just keep reading.
How could he understand this?
He's Grey Racer. You know how he is. Well, not really, but I know how he is.
Sakura, her life is growing short. Offspring she must create and support.
What? Never mind. Just keep going. I'm gonna put that over there.
You must pollinate her. The magical consummation must occur. Although Sakura stepped farther and farther from him, her voice grew deeper and deeper. With what? Mac felt exasperated, still knocked back besides from the flowers, trying his best to stand up. Something seemed to still hold him. Don't I need spray or something? Or something powdery to sew? Where are my gardening supplies? I'm so confused. She requires nothing that would hang from toolshed pegs, Sakura yelled before disappearing.
The only supplies you will need shall be... Oh my god! The only supplies you need you shall find right between your legs. Grey Racer, are you kidding me? Don't tell me he has to... Ew. What the fuck, Grey Racer? I'm gonna text him and kick his ass now.
Yeah, go ahead, please do.
Keep reading.
Okay. Just say we're reading this right now, and what the hell?
I'm just gonna type in, what the hell kind of fanfic is this? Go ahead, keep reading, we gotta do it.
Mac blinked. He stared out at the open expanse. I'm not in the mood for riddles, he sneered, wiggling his body from side to side. He tried to stand back up. He pulled his back hooves forwards, but something moist moved up along his legs.
Don't tell me it's tentacles.
He tugged for a moment. What the heck is going on? He stuck and swung his head around to the ground, looking straight underneath him. Oh, my leg is just caught in the vines.
It is tentacles.
He muttered, seeing the green curls going along his bright red fur. He prepared to grip his legs together, tugging harder. The vines held him back. He blinked. One of the vines actually moved right before his eyes. Oh my Celestia. He froze. He saw one of the vines stretching up over to his cutie mark. He moved his head up to the left and looking back over his shoulder. A particularly big tulip nudged against the big apple on his flank. The petals opened up a little. His heart raced like Rainbow Dash trying to break a record. the moist pink petals made a circle along his cutie mark, those soft things feeling like a mare's tongue.
What?
Then I guess she needs. He groaned, his head shaking. Vines snaked along his legs and started up his belly. He couldn't bear to force himself to move, his body going numb as countless thoughts weared against each other in his subconscious. I guess you want. He felt himself being rolled over onto his back. Did he text back yet?
No, yeah, you'll hear that. You'll hear a cling or something.
Oh, okay. Can I even talk to this thing? Can it understand me? Could it talk back somehow? He looked up at the empty sky as the plant slid gently across the grass over towards itself. His bottom hooves brushed up against a mat of leaves, and he felt the vines growing looser and looser. He looked down. Most of the flowers simply bobbed left to right slightly, still looking like ordinary tulips than some kind of ever-free forest monster. Vines messed around underneath them, crawling in ways that seemed like to make no rhyme or reason.
I'm changing his text tone. I want to be able to hear it.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, keep reading. This is getting really weird.
Alright. Oh, Celestia, help me. Background back up at the sky made a huge sigh. I'm being propositioned by greenery.
It's a tentacle storm.
Okay.
What the fuck, Ray Racer?
A single tulip moved up his belly and chest to tickle his chin for a moment, making him reach out and try to swat it. The tulip hovered in the air right in front of his face. He closed his eyes. Oh gosh, I can't believe what's happened. I can't believe I'm here. It's all like a dream or something. He opened his eyes again. He stared straight into the flower. Rather than seeing the stigma anther stamen that he had expected, he saw the pretty pink and yellow flower petals of the flower, leaning on the inside, some kind of yellow.
No. No. No.
Gray Racer, what the fuck do you have us reading?
Keep going.
I can't, that's too funny.
Just keep going. We have to.
Leading into some kind of yellowish white folds doused in a glittery gray powder. It looks almost like a set of lips. Almost. I guess this species only has stigma and that's it. The petals bent forwards, closing the flower somewhat. Is she showing me her stigma? The flower bent down closer to him, lifting up perfectly with his lips. An awkward 10 seconds of nothingness happened. 10 seconds flat. Oh, Celestia, he said, making a pained moan. You want a kiss, don't you?
Lord.
The tulip didn't say anything in response, but the vine behind the tulip moved up and down like a mare shaking her head, yes. Mac's head shivered back and forth. No, what the hey is wrong with me? Why would I ever kiss a bucking flower? Kiss a flower just like I would kiss Cheerily or Rarity or Fluttershy. Gross. He didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or scream out. He saw the tulip opening a little once again, its petals looking even more moist than before. His eyes took the intricate yellow stripes along the pink body. On plant terms, things looked rather beautiful. But it's still... wow. You're not my species, not my genus, not my family, not my class, not my order.
Family.
You're not even my phylum? Phylum, whatever it is. For crying out loud, Matt called out. The flower simply moved in closer, the tips of its petals curled up a little. Every part of it looking to be soaking wet.
You must be eating dinner or something.
Is it really so bad? It's gotta be literally the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Still, all I have to do is give her, I guess, my body. Then Applejack, Applebloom, Granny Smith, and all the rest of us are set for the whole season, if not for years. He gazed back at the flower. He knew it was kind of soft, delicate, and an adorable thing that he'd searched far and wide to give to a sweetheart. Having never seen a prettier plant. Oh, bucket. So he's actually going to go through with this. Well, if it is to help his family.
Hello, person.
What is up? Cookies!
Yay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. My mom brought us some cookies.
Oh, they're warm.
Sweet. No, like I said, it's to help out his family. Matt closed his eyes and stuck out his lips, sucking a big breath through his nose. And then they kissed.
This is weird.
To be continued.
This is weird.
Yeah, it is. Off the record, Gray Racer, what the fuck do you have us reading?
Part 2 soon.
And this is JTH.
Tailsthehero.
Goodbye, and we will see you in part 2.